Your mind is the battlefield. Every thought is a weapon, every emotion a command. If you do not control your mind will control you. And when your mind controls you, chaos wins. But when you seize control, when you direct your thoughts, discipline your emotions, and command your focus, you win. Victory is not luck. Victory is not chance. Victory is choice. And the choice begins here. Control your mind, control your life. Chapter 1. Stop letting your mind wander. Your mind is your greatest weapon, but a weapon left unattended fires in every direction. A wandering mind is a wasted life. Say it again. A wandering mind is a wasted life. You think you're just daydreaming. You think you're just scrolling. You think you're just taking a break. But every time your mind drifts without command, you lose control. You lose minutes. You lose hours. You lose momentum. And momentum is everything. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either let your mind wander into chaos, or you can seize it, direct it, and force it back into the present moment. The cost of wandering. Let's be clear. Wandering thoughts are not harmless. They drain energy. They scatter focus. They create chaos. Think about the last time you opened your phone, just for a minute. 10 minutes later, you're still scrolling. 30 minutes later, you're still watching. An hour later, you don't even remember what you were looking for. That's not rest. That's not recovery. That's theft. Your own mind stole your time. Every wandering thought is a leak in your system. Every leak drains your power. And when your power is drained, you cannot fight. You cannot build. You cannot win. You have a choice. You can patch the leaks. You can stop the wandering. You can reclaim your time. The illusion of escape. People wander because they think it's escape. They think drifting off into fantasy or distraction is relief. But it's not relief. It's avoidance. It's not about relaxation. It's about discipline. Discipline is the real relief. Discipline is the real freedom. Because when you control your mind, you control your life. Scrolling endlessly, drifting into daydreams, replaying old arguments in your head, none of that solves anything. None of that builds anything. None of that moves you forward. You don't need their permission to stop. You don't need anyone's approval to take control. You need discipline. That's the key. Training the mind. So how do you stop wandering? You train. You train like a soldier. You train like an athlete. You train like your life depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Catch yourself. Notice when your mind drifts. Notice when you're no longer present. Awareness is the first weapon. Step 2. Command yourself. Say it out loud if you must. Back to the present. Back to the task. Back to the fight. Step 3. Repeat. Every time your mind drifts, drag it back. Every time it wanders, pull it in. Every time it escapes, lock it down. That repetition is the training. That repetition is the discipline. That repetition is the difference between chaos and control. Real-world example. Picture this. You're at work. You have a project due, but your mind wanders. You start thinking about what someone said yesterday. You start scrolling through messages. You start checking notifications. 10 minutes gone. 20 minutes gone. The project is still untouched. The deadline is still looming. And now you're stressed. That stress didn't come from the project. It came from wandering. It came from distraction. It came from your lack of control. Now picture the opposite. You catch yourself drifting. You command yourself back. You shut down the distraction. You walk in on the project. 30 minutes later, it's done. The stress is gone. The victory is yours. That's the difference. That's the choice. The discipline of presence. Presence is power. Presence is clarity. Presence is control. When you are present, you see clearly. You act decisively. You move forward. When you wander, you hesitate. You delay. You waste. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline. Discipline to return. Discipline to refocus. Discipline to stay present. You have a choice. Every moment you have a choice. Wandering or presence. Chaos or control. Defeat or victory. The enemy of focus, understand this. Wandering is the enemy of focus, and focus is your superpower. Every great achievement was built on focus. Every great victory was won with focus. Every great life was lived with focus. You cannot build if you wander. You cannot win if you wander. You cannot live fully if you wander. A wandering mind is a wasted life. Say it again. A wandering mind is a wasted life. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Set boundaries. Limit your distractions. Put the phone down. Close the tabs. Guard your attention like treasure. Practice presence. Use simple cues. Breathe. Look around. Name what you see. Anchor yourself in the now. Command your mind. Don't ask. Don't suggest. Command. Back to the present. Every time. Repeat daily. This is not one time. This is every time. This is training. This is discipline. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you stop letting your mind wander. You reclaim your life. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your power. You stop wasting hours. You stop wasting energy. You stop wasting yourself. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become unstoppable. Because control of the mind is control of the life. And control of the life is victory. Closing the chapter. So remember, a wandering mind is a wasted life. Every time you drift, you lose. Every time you return, you win. You have a choice. Chaos or control. Wandering or presence. Defeat or victory. Choose presence. Choose discipline. Choose control. You mastered the first step, stopping the drift. Now, let's go deeper. You stopped wandering. Now it's time to face the next enemy. Chapter 2. Your emotions are not your master. Your emotions are powerful, but they are not your master. Say it again. Your emotions are not your master. Emotions are signals. Emotions are data. Emotions are feedback. But emotions are not commands. They do not dictate your actions unless you allow them to. And when you allow them to, chaos wins. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either let emotions control you, or you can control emotions. The trap of emotional control. Most people live as slaves to their emotions. They feel anger and they lash out. They feel fear and they freeze. They feel sadness and they quit. But here's the truth. Emotions are not destiny. Emotions are not orders. Emotions are not law. Think about it. Anger doesn't force you to yell. Fear doesn't force you to hide. Sadness doesn't force you to stop. You choose. You decide. You act. You have a choice. Every time. Real-world example. Picture this. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your heart races. Your blood boils. You feel the surge of anger. Most people slam the horn. Most people scream. Most people let the emotion drive the car. But what happens? Stress spikes. Focus drops. The rest of the day is poisoned by one moment of emotional slavery. Now picture the opposite. You feel the anger. You notice it. You name it. You say, that's anger. That's a signal. That's not a command. You breathe. You stay calm. You keep driving. The day remains yours. The victory remains yours. That's the difference. That's the choice. The illusion of authenticity. People say, I'm just being real. I'm just expressing myself. But uncontrolled emotion is not authenticity. It's weakness. It's not about expression. It's about discipline. Discipline is the real authenticity. Discipline is the real strength. Because when you control your emotions, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control your life. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You don't need approval to stay disciplined. You need control. That's the key. Training emotional control. So how do you stop emotions from mastering you? You train. You train like a fighter. You train like a leader. You train like your future depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Awareness. Notice the emotion. Name it. Say it out loud if you must. This is fear. This is anger. This is sadness. Step 2. Separation. Remind yourself. This is a signal, not a command. Step 3. Redirection. Channel the energy. Use anger to fuel effort. Use fear to sharpen focus. Use sadness to deepen resolve. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of emotional slavery. When emotions master you, you lose control. You lose relationships. You lose opportunities. You lose yourself. Think about the leader who panics under pressure. The team collapses. The mission fails. Think about the parent who lashes out in anger. The child withdraws. The bond breaks. Think about the entrepreneur who quits in sadness. The dream dies. The future disappears. All because emotions were allowed to command. All because discipline was absent. You have a choice: chaos or control, slavery or mastery, defeat or victory, behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Pause before action. When emotion surges, stop. Breathe. Delay the reaction. Name the emotion. Call it out. Label it. Separate yourself from it. Redirect the energy. Use it as fuel. Anger becomes drive. Fear becomes focus. Sadness becomes depth. Repeat daily. This is not one time. This is every time. This is training. This is discipline. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you stop letting emotions master you, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your relationships. You reclaim your future. You stop reacting blindly. You stop sabotaging yourself. You stop living in chaos. You become calm. You become strong. You become unstoppable. Because control of emotions is control of actions. And control of actions is control of life. Closing the chapter. So remember, your emotions are not your master. They are signals, not commands. They are feedback, not orders. You have a choice. Every moment you have a choice. Chaos or control, slavery or mastery, defeat or victory. Choose control, choose discipline, choose mastery. You mastered your emotions. Now, let's talk about the next truth. You controlled the storm inside. Now it's time to discover the structure that sets you free. Chapter 3. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is freedom. Say it again. Discipline is freedom. Most people think discipline is a cage. They think discipline is punishment. They think discipline is suffering. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline is the key that unlocks freedom. Discipline is the structure that creates strength. Discipline is the foundation that builds victory. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either live by discipline or you can live by chaos. And chaos is slavery. The illusion of freedom without discipline. People confuse indulgence with freedom. They think doing whatever they want, whenever they want, is freedom. But indulgence is not freedom. Indulgence is chains. Think about it. The person who eats whatever they want, whenever they want, is not free. They are chained to cravings. They are chained to weakness. They are chained to regret. The person who spends money recklessly is not free. They are chained to debt. They are chained to stress. They are chained to fear. The person who avoids discipline is not free. They are enslaved by chaos. You have a choice: discipline or indulgence, freedom or slavery, victory or defeat. Real-world example. Picture the athlete. The athlete who wakes up early, trains daily, eats clean, and rests properly. To outsiders, it looks restrictive. To outsiders, it looks harsh. To outsiders, it looks like sacrifice. But what happens when the game begins? That athlete is free. Free to perform at the highest level. Free to dominate. Free to win. Now picture the opposite. The athlete who skips practice, eats junk, stays up late. To outsiders, it looks easy. To outsiders, it looks fun. To outsiders, it looks free. But what happens when the game begins? That athlete is trapped. Trapped by fatigue. Trapped by weakness. Trapped by regret. That's the difference. That's the choice. Discipline is freedom. Chaos is slavery. The structure that creates strength. Discipline is structure. Structure creates strength. Structure eliminates chaos. When you have discipline, you don't waste energy deciding. You don't waste time hesitating. You don't waste focus wandering. You wake up and the routine is set. You act and the path is clear. You move and the mission is defined. That's freedom. Freedom from indecision. Freedom from distraction. Freedom from chaos. It's not about restriction. It's about liberation. Discipline liberates you from weakness. Discipline liberates you from regret. Discipline liberates you from defeat. Training discipline. So how do you build discipline? You train. You train like a soldier. You train like a builder. You train like your life depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Set rules. Define your structure. Decide your routine. Write it down. Step 2. Obey the rules. No negotiation. No excuses. No compromise. Step 3. Repeat daily. Discipline is not one time. Discipline is every time. Discipline is forever. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the freedom. The cost of indiscipline. When discipline is absent, chaos wins, and chaos costs everything. Think about the student who never studies. They fail the exam. They fail the course. They fail the future. Think about the worker who never plans. They miss deadlines. They miss promotions. They miss opportunities. Think about the leader who never controls themselves. They lose respect. They lose influence. They lose power. All because discipline was absent. All because chaos was allowed. You have a choice. Discipline or chaos. Freedom or slavery. Victory or defeat. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Build routines. Wake up at the same time. Train at the same time. Work at the same time. Eliminate excuses. Don't negotiate with weakness. Don't compromise with chaos. Don't delay discipline. Guard your structure. Protect your schedule. Protect your rituals. Protect your rules. Repeat daily. Discipline is not occasional. Discipline is constant. Discipline is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you embrace discipline, you embrace freedom. You embrace strength. You embrace victory. You stop wasting time. You stop wasting energy. You stop wasting yourself. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become unstoppable. Because discipline is freedom, and freedom is victory. Closing the chapter. So remember, discipline is not restriction. Discipline is freedom. Structure creates strength. Chaos creates slavery. You have a choice. Every day you have a choice. Discipline or chaos. Freedom or slavery. Defeat or victory. Choose discipline. Choose structure. Choose freedom. You mastered discipline. Now, let's talk about the next trap. You built structure. Now it's time to break the chains of approval. Chapter 4. Stop seeking permission. Stop waiting. Stop asking. Stop seeking permission. Say it again. Stop seeking permission. Every time you wait for approval, you delay your life. Every time you ask for validation, you surrender your power. Every time you seek permission, you chain yourself to someone else's opinion. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either live by their approval, or you can live by your decision. The trap of permission. Most people live trapped by permission. They wait for someone to say yes. They wait for someone to nod. They wait for someone to validate their worth. But here's the truth. Permission is paralysis. Permission is delay. Permission is defeat. Think about it. The employee who never acts without a boss's approval stays stuck. The artist who never creates without applause stays silent. The leader who never moves without consensus stays frozen. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You need discipline. That's the key. Real-world example. Picture this. You have an idea, a business, a project, a dream. But instead of acting, you wait. You ask friends if it's good. You ask family if it's safe. You ask strangers if it's possible. Weeks pass. Months pass. Years pass. The idea dies. Not because it was impossible. Not because it was unworthy. But because you waited for permission. Now picture the opposite. You have an idea. You act. You build. You move. You fail, maybe. You learn. Definitely. You grow, absolutely. That's the difference. That's the choice. Permission or action, paralysis or progress, defeat or victory. The illusion of safety. People seek permission because they think it's safe. They think approval protects them. They think validation guarantees success. But safety is an illusion. Approval is an illusion. Permission is an illusion. It's not about safety. It's about discipline. Discipline to act without applause. Discipline to move without consensus. Discipline to build without validation. Because freedom is not found in permission. Freedom is found in decision. Training independence, so how do you stop seeking permission? You train. You train like a warrior. You train like a builder. You train like your future depends on it, because it does. Step 1, decide. Make the choice. Own it. Step 2, act. Move forward. Execute. Build. Step 3, repeat. Every time you hesitate, remind yourself, I don't need permission. I need discipline. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of permission. When you live by permission, you lose time, you lose opportunities, you lose yourself. Think about the entrepreneur who waits for investors' approval. The idea dies. Think about the student who waits for teachers' validation. The dream fades. Think about the leader who waits for consensus. The mission fails. All because permission was sought. All because action was delayed. You have a choice. Permission or decision. Paralysis or progress. Defeat or victory. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Stop asking. Don't wait for approval. Don't seek validation. Don't delay action. Own your choices. Decide. Act. Accept responsibility. Build without applause. Create even if no one claps. Move even if no one nods. Repeat daily. Independence is not occasional. Independence is constant. Independence is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you stop seeking permission, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your life. You stop waiting. You stop hesitating. You stop surrendering. You become decisive. You become bold. You become unstoppable. Because freedom is not found in permission. Freedom is found in decision. Closing the chapter. So remember, stop seeking permission. Permission is paralysis. Permission is defeat. Permission is slavery. You have a choice. Every moment. You have a choice. Permission or decision. Paralysis or progress. Defeat or victory. Choose decision. Choose action. Choose freedom. You mastered independence. Now let's face the next enemy. You stopped waiting for permission. Now it's time to eliminate the silent thief of your destiny. Chapter 5. The silent cost of distraction. Distraction is not harmless. Distraction is defeat. Distraction is theft. Say it again. Every distraction is a defeat. You think you're just checking your phone. You think you're just glancing at a notification. You think you're just multitasking. But every time you break focus, you pay a price. And the price is higher than you realize. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either guard your attention like treasure, or you can give it away to every noise, every ping, every interruption. The hidden thief. Distraction is a silent thief. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream. It sneaks in. It steals minutes. It steals hours. It steals destiny. Think about it. You sit down to work. You're locked in. You're focused. Then, ping, a message, a notification, a thought. You check. You scroll. You wander. 10 minutes gone. 20 minutes gone. The task is still unfinished. The momentum is broken. The energy is drained. That's the cost. That's the theft. That's the defeat. The illusion of multitasking. People say, I'm multitasking. I'm efficient. But multitasking is not efficiency. Multitasking is dilution. It's not about productivity. It's about distraction. Every time you split your focus, you weaken your power. Every time you divide your attention, you divide your results. Think about the person who tries to study while watching TV. They don't learn. They don't retain. They don't grow. Think about the worker who checks emails while writing a report. They don't finish. They don't focus. They don't win. Multitasking is not mastery. Multitasking is defeat. Real-world example. Picture this. You're building a project. You're writing, coding, designing, whatever your mission is. But every 5 minutes, you check your phone. Every 10 minutes, you scroll. Every 15 minutes, you wander. At the end of the day, the project is half done. The energy is gone. The frustration is high. Now picture the opposite. You silence the phone. You shut down the tabs. You lock in for 2 hours. At the end of the day, the project is complete. The energy is strong. The victory is yours. That's the difference. That's the choice. Distraction or focus. Defeat or victory. The cost you don't see. Distraction doesn't just steal time. It steals depth. It steals clarity. It steals mastery. Every time you break focus, you reset your brain. Studies show it takes minutes to recover from a distraction. Minutes multiplied by dozens of interruptions equals hours lost. But the deeper cost is mastery. You cannot master anything if you are constantly distracted. You cannot build greatness if you are constantly interrupted. You cannot live fully if you are constantly divided. Distraction is not harmless. Distraction is defeat. Training focus. So how do you eliminate distraction? You train. You train like a warrior. You train like a monk. You train like your destiny depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Identify the distractions. Know your enemy. Phone, notifications, noise, clutter. Step 2. Eliminate them. Silence the phone. Close the tabs. Clean the space. Step 3. Guard your focus. Protect it like treasure. Defend it like territory. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Silence the noise. Turn off notifications. Put the phone away. Shut down distractions. Create focus zones. Work in blocks. 2 hours of deep work. No interruptions. No breaks. Clean your environment. Remove clutter. Remove chaos. Remove noise. Repeat daily. Focus is not occasional. Focus is constant. Focus is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you eliminate distraction, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your destiny. You stop wasting hours. You stop wasting focus. You stop wasting yourself. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become unstoppable. Because focus is freedom, and distraction is defeat. Closing the chapter. So remember, every distraction is a defeat. Every interruption is theft. Every wandering moment is chaos. You have a choice. Every moment, you have a choice. Distraction or focus. Defeat or victory. Choose focus. Choose discipline. Choose freedom. You mastered distraction. Now, let's sharpen the next weapon. You eliminated noise. Now it's time to harness the true power of your thoughts. Chapter 6. Thoughts become weapons. Your thoughts are not neutral. Your thoughts are not harmless. Your thoughts are weapons. Say it again. Your thoughts are weapons. Every thought you allow into your mind either builds you or destroys you. Every thought either sharpens your blade or dulls it. Every thought either moves you toward victory or drags you into defeat. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either load your mind with destructive thoughts, or you can arm yourself with powerful ones. The power of thought. Thoughts create emotions. Thoughts create actions. Thoughts create destiny. Think about it. A single thought of doubt can paralyze you. A single thought of fear can freeze you. A single thought of anger can poison you. But a single thought of courage can ignite you. A single thought of discipline can strengthen you. A single thought of victory can propel you. Your thoughts are weapons, and weapons must be controlled. Real-world example. Picture this. You're about to give a presentation. One thought enters. I'm not good enough. Suddenly, your heart races. Your confidence collapses. Your performance crumbles. Now picture the opposite. You're about to give the same presentation. One thought enters. I am prepared. I am strong. I will deliver. Suddenly, your chest rises. Your confidence builds. Your performance shines. Same situation, different thought, different weapon, different result. That's the difference. That's the choice. The illusion of harmless negativity. People say, it's just a thought. It doesn't matter. But that's a lie. It's not about harmlessness. It's about discipline. Discipline to guard your mind. Discipline to reject poison. Discipline to choose strength. Because every thought matters. Every thought builds or destroys. Every thought wins or loses. You don't need their permission to think strong. You don't need approval to think disciplined. You need control. That's the key. Training thought control. So how do you turn thoughts into weapons of victory? You train. You train like a soldier. You train like a warrior. You train like your life depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Awareness. Notice the thought. Catch it. Identify it. Step 2. Evaluate. Ask, does this thought build me or destroy me? Step 3. Replace. If it destroys, reject it. Replace it with a thought that builds. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of negative thoughts. When negative thoughts dominate, chaos wins. And chaos costs everything. Think about the entrepreneur who constantly thinks, I'll fail. They never start. Think about the student who constantly thinks, I'm not smart enough. They never try. Think about the leader who constantly thinks, I can't handle this. They collapse under pressure. All because thoughts were allowed to destroy. All because discipline was absent. You have a choice, negative or positive, destruction or construction, defeat or victory. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Guard your mind. Notice every thought. Catch it before it spreads. Reject poison. Eliminate negative self-talk. Refuse destructive narratives. Replace with strength. Speak affirmations. Repeat truths. I am disciplined. I am strong. I am unstoppable. Repeat daily. Thought control is not occasional. Thought control is constant. Thought control is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you control your thoughts, you control your emotions. When you control your emotions, you control your actions. When you control your actions, you control your life. You stop sabotaging yourself. You stop weakening yourself. You stop destroying yourself. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become unstoppable. Because your thoughts are weapons, and weapons in the right hands win wars. Closing the chapter. So remember, your thoughts are weapons. Every thought builds or destroys. Every thought wins or loses. You have a choice. Every moment you have a choice. Chaos or control. Destruction or construction. Defeat or victory. Choose strength. Choose discipline. Choose victory. You mastered your thoughts. Now, let's silence the need to prove yourself. You armed your mind. Now it's time to stop wasting energy on validation. Chapter 7. Stop proving and start doing. Stop proving. Stop explaining. Stop defending. Say it again. Stop proving and start doing. Every time you try to prove yourself, you waste energy. Every time you try to explain yourself, you lose focus. Every time you try to defend yourself, you surrender power. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either spend your life proving, or you can spend your life doing. The trap of proving. Most people live trapped by the need to prove. They want to prove they're smart. They want to prove they're worthy. They want to prove they belong. But here's the truth. Proof is noise. Proof is distraction. Proof is weakness. Think about it. The person who spends hours arguing online proves nothing. The person who spends years chasing approval proves nothing. The person who spends their life defending themselves proves nothing. Results prove. Action proves. Victory proves. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You need discipline. That's the key. Real-world example, picture this. Someone doubts you. They say you can't do it. They say you're not capable. Most people argue. Most people defend. Most people waste hours trying to prove. But what happens? Nothing changes. The doubter still doubts. The critic still criticizes. The hater still hates. Now, picture the opposite. Someone doubts you. You don't argue. You don't defend. You act. You build. You win. The critic is silenced. The doubter is proven wrong. The hater is irrelevant. That's the difference. That's the choice. Proving or doing. Noise or action. Defeat or victory. The illusion of validation. People chase validation because they think it's strength. They think proving themselves shows power. They think defending themselves shows confidence. But validation is not strength. Validation is weakness. It's not about proving, it's about discipline. Discipline to act without applause. Discipline to move without defense. Discipline to build without explanation. Because freedom is not found in proving. Freedom is found in doing. Training action over proof. So how do you stop proving and start doing? You train. You train like a builder. You train like a fighter. You train like your destiny depends on it, because it does. Step 1, silence the noise. Ignore the critics. Ignore the doubters. Ignore the haters. Step 2, act, build, move, execute. Step 3, repeat. Every time you feel the urge to prove, redirect it into action. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of proving. When you live to prove, you lose time. You lose energy. You lose yourself. Think about the entrepreneur who spends years defending their idea instead of building it. The idea dies. Think about the student who spends hours proving they're smart instead of studying. The grades collapse. Think about the leader who spends energy defending decisions instead of executing them. The mission fails. All because proving was chosen. All because action was delayed. You have a choice: proving or doing, noise or action, defeat or victory. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Stop defending. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't waste energy. Act decisively. Build, move, execute. Let results speak. Ignore critics. Silence the noise. Focus on the mission. Repeat daily. Action is not occasional. Action is constant. Action is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you stop proving and start doing, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your life. You stop wasting energy. You stop wasting focus. You stop wasting yourself. You become decisive. You become bold. You become unstoppable. Because proof is noise. Action is power. Closing the chapter. So remember, stop proving and start doing. Proof is noise. Action is power. Victory is proof. You have a choice. Every moment, you have a choice. Proving or doing. Noise or action. Defeat or victory. Choose action. Choose discipline. Choose victory. You mastered action. Now let's face the next truth. You stopped proving. Now it's time to confront the chaos that hides in plain sight. Chapter 8. Chaos is a choice. Chaos is not inevitable. Chaos is not destiny. Chaos is a choice. Say it again. Chaos is a choice. Every time you allow clutter, you choose chaos. Every time you allow distraction, you choose chaos. Every time you allow disorder, you choose chaos. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either build order or you can allow chaos. The lie of inevitability. Most people believe chaos is unavoidable. They think life is messy. They think disorder is natural. They think chaos just happens. But here's the truth. Chaos doesn't happen. Chaos is allowed. Chaos is chosen. Chaos is tolerated. Think about it. The messy desk didn't appear overnight. It was built by choices. The cluttered schedule didn't appear suddenly. It was built by choices. The chaotic mind didn't appear randomly. It was built by choices. Chaos is not inevitable. Chaos is a choice. Real-world example. Picture this. Your workspace is cluttered. Papers everywhere. Trash piling up. Notifications buzzing. You sit down to work, but your mind is scattered. You can't focus, you can't move, you can't win. Now picture the opposite. Your workspace is clean, papers organized, trash removed, notifications silenced. You sit down to work and your mind is sharp. You focus, you move, you win. Same person, same task, different choice. Chaos or order, defeat or victory. The illusion of creativity in chaos. People say, I thrive in chaos. I'm creative in disorder. But that's a lie. It's not about chaos. It's about discipline. Discipline creates clarity. Discipline creates creativity. Discipline creates freedom. Because chaos doesn't fuel creativity. Chaos drains it. Chaos scatters it. Chaos destroys it. You don't need chaos to be creative. You need discipline. That's the key. Training order. So how do you eliminate chaos? You train. You train like a builder. You train like a warrior. You train like your destiny depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Clean your environment. Remove clutter. Remove noise. Remove disorder. Step 2. Organize your schedule. Plan your day. Guard your time. Protect your focus. Step 3. Discipline your mind. Catch wandering thoughts. Redirect them. Command them. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of chaos. When chaos rules, you lose control. You lose time. You lose energy. You lose yourself. Think about the student who never organizes notes. They fail exams. Think about the worker who never plans tasks. They miss deadlines. Think about the leader who never controls meetings. They lose respect. All because chaos was chosen. All because order was absent. You have a choice. Chaos or order. Defeat or victory. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Clean your space. Remove clutter. Organize tools. Create order. Plan your day. Schedule tasks. Guard time. Protect focus. Discipline your mind. Catch chaos. Redirect thoughts. Command presence. Repeat daily. Order is not occasional. Order is constant. Order is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you eliminate chaos, you reclaim clarity. You reclaim focus. You reclaim freedom. You stop wasting time. You stop wasting energy. You stop wasting yourself. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become unstoppable. Because chaos is a choice, and order is victory. Closing the chapter. So remember, chaos is not inevitable. Chaos is not destiny. Chaos is a choice. You have a choice. Every moment, you have a choice. Chaos or order. Defeat or victory. Choose order. Choose discipline. Choose freedom. You mastered chaos. Now let's sharpen your greatest weapon. You eliminated disorder. Now it's time to harness the force that multiplies results. Chapter 9. Focus is your superpower. Focus is not ordinary. Focus is not optional. Focus is your superpower. Say it again. Focus is your superpower. Every time you sharpen focus, you multiply results. Every time you sustain focus, you accelerate progress. Every time you protect focus, you guarantee victory. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either scatter your attention across distractions, or you can channel it into one mission with unstoppable force. The power of focus. Focus is force. Focus is energy concentrated. Focus is clarity magnified. Think about it. A magnifying glass takes scattered sunlight and concentrates it into fire. That's focus. A laser takes scattered light and concentrates it into power, strong enough to cut steel. That's focus. Your mind works the same way. Scattered attention is weak. Concentrated attention is unstoppable. Focus is your superpower. Real-world example? Picture this. An entrepreneur has 10 ideas. They chase all 10. They scatter energy. They dilute effort. None succeed. Now picture the opposite. The entrepreneur chooses one idea. They focus, they commit, they channel all energy into one mission. That mission grows. That mission wins. Same person, same energy, different choice. Scattered or focused, defeat or victory. The illusion of balance, people say, I want balance, I want to do everything. But balance without focus is chaos. Balance without focus is defeat. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing with full force. Because balance without focus is dilution. Focus without balance is power. You don't need their permission to focus. You don't need approval to commit. You need discipline, that's the key. Training focus. So how do you build focus? You train. You train like a warrior. You train like a monk. You train like your destiny depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Choose your mission. Define the target. Decide the priority. Step 2. Eliminate distractions. Silence the noise. Cut the clutter. Guard the attention. Step 3. Sustain the focus. Stay locked in. Stay committed. Stay present. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of scattered attention. When focus is absent, chaos wins. And chaos costs everything. Think about the student who studies while scrolling social media. They fail exams. Think about the worker who multitasks endlessly. They miss deadlines. Think about the leader who chases every opportunity. They lose the mission. All because focus was absent. All because attention was scattered. You have a choice. Scattered or focused. Chaos or control. Defeat or victory. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Choose one mission. Define the priority. Commit fully. Cut distractions. Silence the phone. Close the tabs. Guard the attention. Work in deep blocks. 2 hours of uninterrupted focus. No breaks, no wandering. Repeat daily. Focus is not occasional. Focus is constant. Focus is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you embrace focus, you embrace power. You embrace clarity. You embrace victory. You stop scattering energy. You stop diluting effort. You stop wasting yourself. You become sharper. You become stronger. You become unstoppable. Because focus is your superpower. And superpowers win battles. Closing the chapter. So remember, focus is not ordinary. Focus is not optional. Focus is your superpower. You have a choice. Every moment, you have a choice. Scattered or focused. Chaos or control. Defeat or victory. Choose focus. Choose discipline. Choose victory. You mastered focus. Now, let's face the final truth. You sharpened your superpower. Now it's time to claim the ultimate prize. Chapter 10. Victory belongs to the controlled mind. Victory is not luck. Victory is not chance. Victory belongs to the controlled mind. Say it again. Victory belongs to the controlled mind. Every battle you face begins in your head. Every challenge you encounter is won or lost in your thoughts. Every victory you desire is decided by your ability to control your mind. You have a choice. That's the key. You can either surrender to chaos, or you can seize control and claim victory. The battlefield of the mind. The mind is the battlefield. The enemy is distraction. The enemy is fear. The enemy is doubt. But the weapon is control. The weapon is discipline. The weapon is focus. Think about it. Soldiers win wars not because they are lucky, but because they are disciplined. Athletes win championships not because they are gifted, but because they are focused. Leaders win battles not because they are fearless, but because they control their emotions under pressure. Victory belongs to the controlled mind. Real-world example. Picture this. A leader faces crisis. The team panics. The environment collapses. The pressure rises. Most leaders lose control. They panic, they freeze, they surrender. But the controlled leader stays calm. They breathe, they think, they act. The team follows. The mission succeeds. The victory is won. Same crisis, same pressure, different choice. Chaos or control. Defeat or victory. The illusion of external victory. People think victory comes from outside. They think it comes from luck. They think it comes from chance. They think it comes from others. But victory does not come from outside. Victory comes from inside. Victory comes from control. Victory comes from discipline. It's not about luck. It's about discipline. It's not about chance. It's about control. It's not about others. It's about you. You don't need their permission to win. You don't need approval to succeed. You need control. That's the key. Training for victory. So how do you claim victory? You train. You train like a warrior. You train like a champion. You train like your destiny depends on it, because it does. Step 1. Control your thoughts. Guard them. Direct them. Command them. Step 2. Control your emotions. Notice them. Name them. Redirect them. Step 3. Control your focus. Eliminate distractions. Sharpen attention. Channel energy. That's the training. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. The cost of losing control. When control is absent, chaos wins. And chaos costs everything. Think about the entrepreneur who panics in downturns. The business collapses. Think about the student who freezes in exams. The grades fail. Think about the athlete who loses focus in competition. The game is lost. All because control was absent. All because chaos was allowed. You have a choice: chaos or control. Defeat or victory. Behavioral instructions. Here's what you must do. Control your thoughts. Reject poison. Replace weakness with strength. Control your emotions. Pause. Breathe. Redirect energy. Control your focus. Guard attention. Eliminate distraction. Commit fully. Repeat daily. Control is not occasional. Control is constant. Control is forever. You don't need their permission. You don't need approval. You need discipline. That's the key. The transformation. When you control your mind, you control your life. When you control your life, you claim victory. You stop surrendering. You stop hesitating. You stop losing. You become calm. You become strong. You become unstoppable. Because victory belongs to the controlled mind, and the controlled mind belongs to you. Closing the chapter. So remember, victory is not luck. Victory is not chance. Victory belongs to the controlled mind. You have a choice. Every moment, you have a choice. Chaos or control. Defeat or victory. Choose control. Choose discipline. Choose victory. You mastered your mind. Now it's time to seal the entire journey. You claimed victory. Now it's time to hear the final challenge. Closing thought. Control your mind, control your life. You have heard the truth. You have felt the urgency. Control is not optional, it is survival. Your mind is the engine, your emotions the fuel, your focus the weapon. If you do not control them, they will control you. And if they control you, chaos wins. But if you seize control, if you discipline your thoughts, if you command your emotions, if you sharpen your focus, you win. Every day, every hour, every moment, you face the choice. Chaos or control, defeat or victory. Choose control, choose discipline, choose focus, choose life. Now, take this lesson, apply it, live it. Control your mind, control your life. Starting today, starting now, starting with you.